let's jump into another deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Canterbury Tales. Yeah, it's a classic, right? And, you know,
It is.
we're talking literature here, so for those of you studying literature, this one's for you.
Absolutely, yeah. The Canterbury Tales, I mean, even though it was written, like, what, over 6 centuries ago?
I know, crazy.
It's still considered one of the most important works in English literature.
It's considered like a cornerstone of English lit, right?
It is, it is.
So, okay, I've heard of the Canterbury Tales. Everyone has.
Right.
This is a long poem, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not your typical, like, you know, epic hero goes on a quest kind of thing.
Exactly, and that's what's so brilliant about this work is the way that it's structured.
Oh, hey.
It's what we call a frame narrative,
Okay.
a story within a story.
I like that.
So Chaucer sets it up with this group of pilgrims, and they're all making a pilgrimage to Canterbury Cathedral.
Okay.
And to kind of entertain each other along the way, they decide to have a storytelling contest.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
So it's like we're listening in on a medieval road trip.
Exactly.
Getting to know these characters through the stories they tell.
Exactly, and you get to know them
That's so cool.
through the general prologue.
Okay.
Because he introduces us to all of these characters. We've got the knight, the miller, the prioress, the wife of Bath.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of the wife of Bath.
And they represent all these different facets of 14th century English society.
Oh, wow.
So you get their occupation, their social standing, their personalities all kind of come through.
So it's not just the story. It's them telling the story that is part of the whole thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, wait, okay, so this frame narrative is already like creating all this tension because you're getting these like glimpses of these characters.
Right.
And then you're dying to know, like, what's the wife of Bath going to tell us?
Right. Exactly.
What about the miller? I want to know more about the miller.
And that's what's so effective about this structure.
It's like a little mystery.
It is. And the thing that makes it even more interesting is the sheer variety of the tales.
Oh, so it's not just knights and damsels in distress the whole time.
No, not at all.
Okay, good.
You've got romantic tales of chivalry. You've got bawdy stories.
What are bawdy stories?
They're these comedic stories called fabliaux.
Oh, okay.
And then you've got religious narratives exploring morality.
Okay.
And some stories even poke fun at the church itself.
Wait, he's satirizing the church in this.
He is.
That's kind of bold for that time period.
It was.
I can see why this is considered like groundbreaking stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like pushing boundaries.
It is.
It's not just entertaining.
Right.
And this variety, this isn't just for like, you know, entertainment's sake.
No,
right?
it mirrors the diversity of the pilgrims themselves.
Okay.
And it shows just how skillful Chaucer was as a writer.
Yeah.
He's going from these high styles of writing to low styles of writing.
Wow.
Depending on the pilgrim who's telling the story. That's wild. So, like, he's giving each of them a platform
Yes.
and letting their personalities shine through their story choices.
Exactly.
That must be so fun to analyze, like, as a lit student.
Oh, yeah. Definitely gives you a lot to unpack.
So it's not just the characters and it's not just the stories.
Right.
It's also, like, a window into their world, right? Like what was going on in the 14th century.
Exactly.
I mean, he was writing this after the Black Death.
Mm-hmm.
That was a crazy time. Like
Yeah.
a huge upheaval.
It was a time of immense social and religious upheaval.
Exactly. So are these events, do they make it into the stories?
They do.
Oh, wow.
Often in subtle and surprising ways.
Okay.
You see the plague's impact. You see anxieties about death and the afterlife.
Yeah.
Critiques of the church's authority.
Right.
And all of that is woven into the fabric of the stories.
Like little Easter eggs almost. I like that.
For example, you've got the pardoner,
Okay.
who's this character who's selling religious relics.
Mm-hmm. He actually admits to his own corruption and hypocrisy.
Oh, wow.
So it reflects this growing skepticism towards the church at the time.
So we're not just getting entertained. We're getting like
Right.
a front row seat to their anxieties, their beliefs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're living through a crazy time.
But transformative period.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Chaucer created this time capsule.
Wow, yeah.
Capturing the spirit of 14th century England.
It makes you wonder what else he would have captured if he had more time. Because, you know, we haven't even touched on the fact that the Canterbury Tales is unfinished.
It is.
So he had bigger plans.
He did.
Tell me everything. What was he going for?
So in the general prologue, he
Yeah.
says that he envisioned each pilgrim telling 4 tales,
4.
2 on the journey there and 2 on the way back.
Okay.
Imagine.
So over 100 tales.
We could have had over 100 tales.
Wow. So we only have like a fraction of what he intended.
Right.
That's fascinating and heartbreaking.
It is.
It makes you wonder how different our understanding of it would be
Right.
if he had finished it all.
It's a mystery
I-
that literary scholars have debated for centuries.
It feels like we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
There's so much to unpack here.
There is.
The characters, the stories, the historical context, the missing pieces.
Right.
But I think we need to take a pause here for a second.
Okay.
We'll be back soon to dive even deeper into the themes and the legacy of the Canterbury Tales.
Sounds good. So before the break, we were talking about how the Canterbury Tales is unfinished.
Right, it's like this cliffhanger.
It is, yeah.
And it got me thinking, we only have this fraction of what he wanted to write.
Right.
But even so, it's still considered this masterpiece, this cornerstone of English literature.
Yeah.
Why? What makes it so impactful?
Well, for one, the Canterbury Tales didn't just tell great stories. It actually helped shape the English language as we know it today.
Wait, hold on. How did this collection of medieval tales influence a language spoken by, billions of people?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Chaucer popularized the use of Middle English vernacular.
Okay.
Before Chaucer, most literary works were written in French or Latin, languages of the elite.
Right. Because of the Norman conquest and all that.
Exactly.
French was like the language of the courts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Chaucer was kind of a rebel then.
He was kind of shaking things up.
Yeah.
He chose to write in the language of everyday people, elevating Middle English to a literary language.
So from a literature student's perspective,
Yeah.
this is huge.
It was huge.
He paved the way for other writers to use their own language.
Exactly.
Wow, so he was leading this linguistic revolution
Mm-hmm.
right in the middle of this already revolutionary work.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, to think about the impact one work can have.
It is. It really is.
Not just on storytelling, but on, the way we communicate.
Right. The power of language and
Yeah.
the choices that writers make.
Yeah.
And the legacy of the Canterbury Tales, it goes beyond just the language, too.
Okay.
It's inspired countless adaptations and homages.
Like what? Give me some examples.
We're talking plays, films, operas,
Wow.
even a science book about evolution.
A science book? What science book?
It's called The Ancestor's Tale, a pilgrimage to the dawn of evolution.
Oh.
And Richard Dawkins, the author, uses that same pilgrimage structure from the Canterbury Tales to explore the evolutionary journey of life on Earth.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Using a medieval pilgrimage as a way to understand evolution.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you,
Mm-hmm.
this work, even all these centuries later,
Yeah.
it's still sparking people's imaginations.
Exactly. And it speaks to its timeless appeal.
Yeah.
The Canterbury Tales is a work that just keeps being reinterpreted, reimagined in new and surprising ways.
I love that.
And I think that leads us to the heart of what makes this work so enduring.
Okay.
It's not just about the stories themselves,
Yeah.
it's about the power of storytelling itself.
Why do we tell stories? Why have we been telling them for, thousands of years?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Stories help us to understand ourselves and each other.
Right.
They allow us to explore different perspectives, walk in somebody else's shoes,
That's true.
grapple with complex emotion,
Yeah.
imagine possibilities.
And the Canterbury Tales does all of that.
It does.
But it also gives us this window into the past.
Mm-hmm.
We get to hang out with these medieval folks,
Yeah.
hear their worries, their jokes,
Yeah.
their beliefs, and
No.
you start to realize, maybe we're not that different from them after all.
Exactly. The themes in the Canterbury Tales, human nature, the power of stories, social satire, all of that is still relevant today.
So true.
We still grapple with the same questions about love, loss, ambition, greed,
Mm-hmm.
the meaning of life.
And I think what makes Chaucer so brilliant
Mm-hmm.
is that he uses satire to kind of expose those flaws, those human flaws.
He does. He doesn't shy away from that at all.
He's like, look at this hypocrisy. Look at this greed. Look at this vanity.
Mm-hmm. Remember the pardoner we talked about?
Oh, yeah.
The guy who's supposed to be this religious figure,
Right.
and he's admitting that he's a total fraud?
Selling fake relics.
Yes.
It's hilarious. And it's kind of terrifying too, right?
It's the sharp, insightful satire
Yeah.
that makes you think.
He wasn't just trying to entertain.
Right.
He was challenging people.
Absolutely. He was holding a mirror up to society,
Wow.
forcing people to confront their own values and beliefs.
Yeah.
He makes you question the stories that we tell ourselves and each other and the narratives that shape our world.
This is blowing my mind. Okay, we've got this epic journey, this crazy cast of characters, stories within stories, and this underlying message about, human nature and society.
Mm-hmm.
It's no wonder this is considered, such an important work, even unfinished.
Yeah, and where do we even go from here, right?
Right, exactly. There's so much to talk about.
It feels like we could spend hours dissecting every detail.
I know.
And that's the beauty of the Canterbury Tales. It's so rich and layered that it really does invite this endless exploration and interpretation.
It's pretty amazing to think about it. The Canterbury Tales.
Yeah.
Even though it's, unfinished,
Right,
written
yeah.
so long ago, it's still, relevant to readers today.
That's the power of great literature.
It really is.
It just transcends time and place.
For those studying literature, there's just so much to, dig into with this.
Oh, absolutely.
The language, the structure, the character.
The social commentary.
The satire.
You hit on a crucial point there, the satire.
Oh, yeah.
Chaucer was a master at using satire.
He really was.
To expose the flaws of his characters.
Yeah.
Holding up this mirror to society.
And some of them were just hilarious, right?
Yeah.
Like the partner.
Oh, yeah.
Who's selling these fake relics. Come on, Chaucer had a wicked sense of humor.
He did.
But it's not just for laughs, right?
No.
There's a purpose.
It makes that social critique
Yeah.
more palatable.
More engaging.
You laugh at the partner's antics, but at the same time you're thinking about hypocrisy and corruption.
Exactly. It's like he's saying,
Yeah.
look at this absurdity, let's laugh,
Right.
but let's also think about what this means.
Exactly.
And that's a lesson that's still relevant today.
Absolutely.
We're constantly bombarded with information, narratives.
It's overwhelming.
It is. And Chaucer reminds us to be discerning.
Yes.
Question the stories we're told.
Question everything.
Look beyond the surface. So it's almost like a guide to navigating life.
In a way, it is.
Both then and now. He encourages us to, engage with the world thoughtfully, critically.
Be aware of those different perspectives.
And to appreciate a good story. Because Chaucer, he was a master.
He was.
Even centuries later. These stories can still transport us.
Yes.
Make us laugh.
Make us think.
Make us think.
Question our own beliefs.
And that's what makes it so, so great.
It really is a blend of entertainment and insight.
I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Talking about the Canterbury Tales.
Yeah, we've explored the structure.
The characters.
The history.
The impact on language.
The themes.
It's really a remarkable work.
It is.
And I hope we've kind of given you a taste of what makes it so fascinating.
Yes.
And encouraged you to, explore it yourself. Maybe find your own favorite tale.
Yeah.
Your own favorite character.
There's a reason it's captivated readers for so long.
It's a journey worth taking.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, I think that wraps up our deep dive.
Yeah.
Happy reading, everyone.